when I started, so try to log back in. I'm not sure why that's doing that, but I think you just got bumped out. So log back in. All right, let me get to my presentation and then we'll get started. So as I said, welcome to College Night Part 2. You guys are already in the meeting, so you don't necessarily need the link anymore. Please keep your microphones off, and we're going to do questions in the chat box, or we'll do live questions at the end, depending on how many people are in the meeting. Please wait your turn to speak, and let's be respectful and polite as always. So welcome and greetings from Dr. Banks, our founder, and Mr. Lopez, the principal. I'm sure he'll be popping in later. I know he had another meeting he was going to off campus, so we'll check back in with him in a little bit. Tonight's topics are going to be the Admit platform. Seth and Jack are here tonight with Admit, and they're going to be talking more about that program and return on investment. Sometimes that's referred to as ROI in the business world. And they're going to show you how to figure out if you're getting the best money for the schools and the major that you're picking. Really interesting tool, really fun to play with. So you guys will have free accounts for that. And we're also going to hear from some other universities and colleges tonight. We're going to hear from Johnson & Wales. A man named David Fritas is going to be here with Johnson & Wales. And also we have Terrell Tolbert here representing Warner University in Lake Wales, Florida. All right, so we're going to get straight to it. Admit is going to be the first one up tonight. It's going to be Seth and Jack again, and that's Seth's contact information. I don't know if he wanted me to give it out, but there it is. And I'm going to let him go ahead and start presenting his screen. So I'm going to stop presenting, and then Seth, you can just take over now.
Awesome. Mr. McDermott, is it all right if I take over first part of the presentation and hand it over to Seth in a little bit?
You guys have the con. Do whatever you like with it.
Sounds good.
Great.
All right.
And if you're a student that just logged in, please type your name in the chat box, because I noticed there's more kids now than when I started. So type your name in the chat box, guys, if you're a student.
Awesome. Can everyone see this okay? Does this?
Yep, we can see it.
Okay, awesome. Just want to make sure. Well, great. Thank you so much for coming, everyone. I know it's a really busy time of year and a really busy year in particular. So Seth and I are very appreciative that you're all joining. I'll introduce myself, and then I'll have Seth introduce himself as well, and we'll get going pretty shortly. So my name is Jack. I'm a third year at Northeastern University here in Boston. I've been working with Admit, for almost a year and a half, starting as an engineering intern, then working part-time during the school year. They brought me back on in a partnerships role, so I'm kind of bringing a student perspective to some of our conversations with educators and students and families. So really excited to be here tonight and kind of walk through Admit from a student perspective.
Excellent. Thanks so much for the opportunity to be here. I actually used to spend a lot of time in South Florida, come down 2 or 3 times a year. I had family there and I miss it. I live in Pittsburgh now. Before I moved to Pittsburgh, I lived in Washington, D.C., and I was a high school educator. I taught a class called College Summit. The class focused on college applications, scholarships, financial aid. I taught about 100 12th graders per year. And when I was first introduced to Admit, which we're going to demo for you this evening, my first thought was, wow, my students and families all needed this for all the years that I was a teacher. I wish they would have had it. So I get very excited to share it with your school at no cost. And thank you to Mr. McDermott and the school community for this opportunity to share Admit. And our goal is to answer any questions you have and really to make sure that you activate your account tonight so you can start using Admit. This is the perfect time to use it as you're finalizing your college list, exploring schools. This is a great time to use Admit.
Awesome. So without further ado, we'll jump right in. We're first going to give an overview of Admit, then we will give a software demo, and I'll walk through account creation. We'll do it all together, and then we'll kind of talk about determining financial fit and how you can continue to use Admit as you make your college decisions. The first thing we'll do is going to be an interactive poll. So I will ask Seth to put this link in the Meet chat as well. But if you head to this link here, pollev.com/admitpoll730. We'll just ask a couple of questions just to kind of gauge how you're all doing and thinking about the college process. That'll help Seth and I kind of tailor the presentation and spend more time on the most relevant things as we go. So again, this link will be in the chat. And the first question is, my family's biggest worry about college is blank. Some examples we have on the screen: student loans, student employment, finding affordable colleges, debt management, budgeting, or others. This is a free response question, so as you submit your answers, they'll pop in here. First one is finding affordable colleges. Really good call out, and definitely something we're happy to help out with. Money, yes, that's a really good point. It can be very overwhelming looking at some of these costs of attendance for schools. So one thing Admit does is looking at how much in merit-based aid and need-based aid you're likely to receive from each school on your list. So happy to help out there. Tuition, same thing. Student loans, good call out. It's really important to make sure you're getting the most out of the money you're spending, whether that's through loans or through other means, distance. Yeah, all of these are really good call outs. Thank you so much for sharing. We'll leave it open for another 30 seconds or so, and then we'll move to the next question. Debt. Yeah, really good point. So we'll spend time, mostly talking about how you can look at loans and tuition and the cost as an investment, right? How you can think about it as you're paying a lot of money for this, but what are you going to get out of it? And how can you make sure you're getting the most that you can out of your education? Student loans, awesome. Finances, great. All right, we're going to start moving on. Thank you for responding here. The next question is, the area my family needs the most guidance is blank. The options are financial aid award appeals. So when you get your financial aid package back, you can actually send a letter to the college and ask for additional scholarships and grants, predicting the true cost of college, right? So looking not only at the sticker price of college, but really what it's going to cost you and your family. Budgeting or saving is pretty self-explanatory. And then determining the return on investment, right? So really thinking about what are you going to get in earnings for a particular major at a particular school on your list. That's a pretty cool point as well. It looks like award appeals are going to be a big point and the true cost of college. Awesome. So I'll do the same thing. I'll leave it open for 30 seconds or so, and then I will hand it over to Seth.
Thanks, Jack. Appreciate it. Really interested in financial aid award appeals. We'll spend some time on that because that's a part of how Admit can support you and your family in the process. First we'll just provide a quick overview of Admit, and then we'll go right into the software and demo Admit for you. And then Jack will walk you through the best way to activate your Admit account.
Awesome. So I've just stopped sharing, and then Seth, you can jump in. Awesome. And as we go, if anyone has any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. I'll keep an eye on it as we go.
Excellent. Just to look at the big picture, there's $1.5 trillion in outstanding student debt in the US. 44 million Americans have student loan debt. Many of my students, when I was an educator, had student loan debt. I didn't finish paying back my loans for college until I was nearly 40. Only 11% of ninth graders are able to correctly estimate the cost to attend a school in state per year in their state. So there's definitely a need for additional college financial education. The average debt burden for students of color is 20% higher compared to the national average. Students of color are more likely to have trouble repaying their loans. Now, what if, in addition to researching schools that have the major that you want, that are a good social fit where you'll be happy and comfortable, you could also research which schools will be a good financial fit and start to estimate the financial aid that you'll get. Merit-based aid, which is based on things like your GPA, need-based aid that's based on FAFSA and your family's financial need. Admit also provides online coursework and modules in the area of financial education, in addition to on-demand counseling. So once you create your Admit account, you can chat with our team anytime you have questions about FAFSA, paying for college, scholarships and grants, financial aid award appeals. We become part of your process, part of your team. Admit is presented at no cost to your school community through our partner SoFi, so there's no cost to you and your family for Admit. I'm actually now going to go right into the software because I'm excited to demo Admit for you. So here, where we are now, so once you activate your Admit account, if you haven't already, but you'll have a chance to do that this evening, you're going to come here, which is the dashboard. So you can take a look at the dashboard and think about, okay, where am I right now in the process? Let's say you're in the process, you and your family, of completing FAFSA. Then you could click here. We have lots of tools and resources to help you with that. You could also click on the icon. This is Sabrina, one of Admit's co-founders, a former university administrator. You can click on Sabrina's icon and ask any questions that you have about how to complete FAFSA or just about scholarships in general and paying for college in general. Typically, where we recommend that you start with Admit once you've created your account, and once you want to update your account is within the profile page. So here, Jack will go over each of the steps, but here, just high level, you could enter your GPA, standardized test scores. Admit is moving to test optional. So for now, you could either use average scores or a practice test, or if you've taken the ACT or SAT, you could enter your scores. You'll be able to enter an intended major that you're interested in for college. I know my major changed about 5 times when I was in high school and college, or what I wanted to major in. It went from history to biology to business. So yours could update as well, but I'll show you why major is important. And then some additional information. So you don't have to enter all of this information for Admit to work. You can update it along the way. For example, if you're awarded a scholarship, either an outside scholarship from a community organization or a company, please update Admit. It'll help us to estimate student loan amounts. So now let's go into the Admit college list. So here is where I hope you will spend lots of time within Admit. This is the information that I always needed as an educator but never had. And let me walk you through a couple of examples. So the first thing that I should say is once you activate your account, you could enter lots of schools into your Admit college list, right? I've entered as many as 20 schools. So any schools that are on your college list that you're interested in learning more about, that you're researching, please enter them into Admit. We'll be able to help you find whether or not, or think about whether or not the school is a good financial fit, right? So is this school going to be a good fit for my family, from paying for college, student loans, and things like that? So let's first start by looking at University of Richmond. So this account was created. I live in Pittsburgh, so it's a Pittsburgh account. And I added a school, University of Richmond. So let's take a look at how Admit works. The cost of attendance for University of Richmond for 1 year is about $69,000. Pretty expensive, right? But University of Richmond is a very generous school. And for this student, we expect that they'll get grants and scholarships just from the school, right? Just from University of Richmond, about $47,000 a year. And then the estimate, or the amount that we're predicting that this student will pay, is around $21,000. But please keep in mind, the $21,000 doesn't include things like part-time jobs, work study, which is working on campus, outside scholarships, family contribution, and things like that. So that is the estimate is the amount just factoring in scholarships and grants that you'll receive from University of Richmond. Now let's take a look at some more information. Estimated loan payment. So for this student, we're estimating when they graduate from University of Richmond, they're going to have about $168 a month in student loans. What I used to tell my students is that's kind of like having a second cell phone bill. Pretty similar, maybe a little bit more, but kind of similar. To put it into context, some of my students pay their own cell phone bill, just to give you a sense of how much that will cost. And then also first year earnings. So a computer science major that graduates from University of Richmond, on average, will make about $70,000 a year. So overall, when we look at all of this information, we think about, is this a good financial fit, right? Does this college make sense as far as paying for it and scholarships and grants? We think it is. I personally think it is, and Admit thinks it is. So this school gets a financial grade of an A. Now let's take a look at one more example, because we want to make sure we have time for you to activate your account and start to put some of your own schools into your Admit account. So another example is New York University. When I worked in Washington, D.C., I worked at the School for the Arts, and all of my students studied dance and music and visual arts, and many of them wanted to attend NYU. Great arts program right in New York City. But let's see if NYU will be a good financial fit. The cost of attendance for NYU is about $77,000 a year. We're predicting that this student will get about $35,000 in scholarships and grants. And then the estimate, or the amount we're predicting that this student will pay, is about $42,000 a year. Now let's take a look at the estimated loan payment. Remember, for University of Richmond, the loan payment was less than $200 a month. But for NYU, the loan payment is over $1,000 a month. That's not like having a second cell phone bill. That could be like having a second rent or mortgage payment. First year earnings for NYU is about $75,000, so that's really high. So let's take a look at the very important Admit financial grade. There's 3 Admit grades, A, B, and C. C's as low as we go. So some might ask, well, why doesn't NYU get a C? That's a high loan payment, over $1,000 a month. The reason is the first year earnings are also very high. But when you create your Admit list, my advice is this. Anytime you have a college that has a grade lower than an A, please have a conversation with Mr. McDermott, with other teachers in your school. with your family. Even call the school and ask the school about it and say, hey, it looks like I'm going to have a high loan payment. Is there anything, we can do? Are there any other programs, scholarships, grants, anything we can do to help with that? So that's my advice. Start putting your schools into your EdNIC college list. Look at the financial grade. Look at the loan payments, and see, and see if the school is going to be a good financial fit for you. I want to, in just a couple of minutes, show you a few other parts of EdMIT that could be helpful. One is our Discover Colleges tab. So if you're adding colleges to your college list, take a look at EdMIT. You can share what's important to you, where you want to go to college, what you want to major in. You want to go to a big school or small school, and we'll recommend some colleges, starting with schools that have a financial grade of an A. And you could add these to your EdMIT list, and then potentially even apply to them yourself. Then we also have our course here, which is really just additional information to help you in the process. You can access as much of this information as is helpful. We have videos, we even have fun quizzes, we have summaries. So take a look at this. For the senior year, 2 areas that I like to recommend is, one, understanding your costs. So if you have a chance to look at this module, understanding your costs, you'll see here we have a sample financial aid award letter. So once you're accepted into college, you're going to get an award letter, and that's the letter that tells you how much you got in scholarships and grants, how much you got, potential loans, work study from a college. Every award letter looks different. I've looked at hundreds, and they all, it takes some time to kind of understand them. So if you have a chance to look at a sample award letter before you get your actual award letter in the winter or spring, it could be a helpful activity. And then the final area within the course that I want to share is our budgeting for college module that Jack's going to share more about.
Awesome. Thank you, Seth. So budgeting is definitely the thing that stressed me out the most when transitioning to college, primarily because I didn't think about it very much during high school. But as soon as I got a job on campus and I had income, but also expenses, I just had a lot of questions. So I really wish I had a resource like this when I was in high school, and I'm really excited to share it as one that you can have. We first talk about fixed expenses, which are survival needs. So that's rent and utilities, or on-campus housing fees, things like that. Variable expenses depend on your lifestyle on campus. How many times you go out to fancy restaurants each week or each month or each semester. And the third category is overlooked expenses. So things like textbooks and course supplies, or on-campus events that might require tickets or things like that. But after sharing that information, we also offer a budget template. So you can click that link at the bottom and it will take you right to a Google Sheet that you can make a copy of. And this budget template gets as detailed as annual spending on laundry. So while you don't have to fill out all of these cells and these fields, because it does get pretty detailed, it's a really good jumping off point, both for a student budget, but also for a conversation with your family and maybe your counseling team, or with EdMIT if you choose to chat or email with us for support. We're happy to help you build this budget if you have questions. But I know it definitely would help me hit the ground running. So I'm really excited to share it.
Thanks so much, Jack. And definitely take advantage of the Do It in EdMIT sections where you can start project-based learning to get ready for college. 2 other sections that we'll cover quickly before we get to activating your accounts. One is financial aid award appeals. A lot of students were curious about that or shared that this is important. This was especially important last spring and summer, as so many families, unfortunately, were impacted financially by the coronavirus, and their financial situation changed since they completed FAFSA the year before. And so families, or students and families, you have the opportunity to share updates and really request additional scholarships and grants from colleges even after you receive your award letter. So EdMIT wants to help in this process because it's so important, and sometimes it can make the difference in whether or not a school is a good financial fit. So we have a letter here. You can copy it, paste it. We provide prompts so you know what information to add to help complete your letter. And then via chat and email, we'll review the letter and we'll help guide you through the financial aid award appeal process. So that's sharing the letter with the school, requesting additional scholarships and grants. Then the school will respond. I know last spring and summer, some colleges had additional funds for students that were impacted by coronavirus and shared additional scholarships and grants after they received the letter. So it's definitely an area that we can help. Again, you can click on the chat button here and we can get started helping with that process in the spring, once you receive your award letter and once you're making your final decision. The other area is our Learning Center. So here, lots more resources, tools, templates. If you're, senior year, we have a lot of information about FAFSA, completing the process. And then if you're still looking for additional colleges to apply to, my favorite article is schools that cover 100% of your financial need. So about 70 schools that if you're accepted and your family has financial need, for the most part, they'll meet it with scholarships and grants. So a really generous group of schools that we hope that you'll consider and research as you are continuing to build your college list. And we also, as many colleges are moving to test optional, we have an article on that as well. If you have some time, please take a look. And if you have questions, just let us know. But this is the overview of Admit. And we appreciate the time to show you how Admit works. We hope that we can be part of your process and really help you to make a wise college financial decision, over the course of the next several months or next few months. And now Jack is actually gonna share how you could activate your account. And if we have a few minutes, you could even start by going into your account and entering schools, and then asking, if time allows, even asking us some questions.
Awesome. Okay, great. I will start sharing. Let's see. I believe this is the right tab. It is. Okay. So if you got an email from Admit, you can click that link and it will kind of take you right to the sign up process. If you didn't, you can go to a link that I'll put in the chat, which is admit.me/InletGroveHS. And that will take you here. This is a link you can also share with your families as well. Or again, if you didn't get that email. But once you get to this page, you can click Get Started. And then it will take us to the first step of the sign up process. I'm going to put in some sample information. Not the fastest typer in the world, so it might take me a sec. Let's see. And then we'll just put in a random password. So once you put that information in, again, if you came from the email, you'll probably have your email and name filled out already. You'll just need to set a password. You can then click Next. And it will ask you, are you a student or a parent? For the purpose of the call, I'm going to select student. But of course, if you were a parent or a family member, you could select parent up there. We'll then ask a little bit about your academic record information. So high school will probably be pre-filled. You can add your graduation year. I'll be a senior for this demonstration. And you can add your GPA and test scores. If you haven't had the chance to take your test, your standardized test, you can click Use Averages, and it will fill them in. If you have though, or if you've taken a practice test and know roughly where you might score, you can put those in as well. Once that's all set, you can click Next. It will then ask some basic information about your family financial information. If you don't know it, you can click again that Use Averages checkbox, and it will fill it out, and you click Next. But I'll just throw in some sample information like the last one. Let's see. For annual student wages, if you plan on getting a job on campus or work study, usually the annual wages are somewhere between $3,500 and $5,000. So you can, estimate there if you'd like. Once that's set, you'll be taken to the last screen, which looks like my Wi-Fi is being a little bit slow right now. So sorry about that, everyone. The last question on the sign-up process will ask you to enter a college. So if you have a school you're really thinking about, or if it's your top choice, feel free to put it in. I'm going to put in University of Richmond. Again, it's kind of an expensive school, but it is a really generous school as well. And it does have really high first-year earnings too. The first time you log into Admit after signing up, you'll be asked if you want to sign up for a course as well. To get that email, you just click Go to the micro course. It will send you an activation email, and you'll look for the one that is titled Complete Your Enrollment in Better Off After College. All you do in there is just click Complete Enrollment, and then you set your password, and then you can access the course. So that in the future, all you have to do is click on the course link in the sidebar, and it will take you right there. But as Seth said, a good place to start from here is go to the profile page again. We can enter an intended major or the EFC if you fill out the FAFSA. I'll go computer science again. Stay true to my computer science and nerdy roots. EFC, I'll leave blank for now. We can estimate, and then scholarships, I'll throw in, say a local community size scholarship. Save those changes. So anytime you make changes or updates to your profile, make sure you hit save. Otherwise, it won't be reflected. And then you can jump into any of the resources we talked about earlier. With that, I will, hand it back to Seth, or I'll leave it on the dashboard, I suppose. And we can answer questions if you have them. If you're comfortable, you can, use your microphone. If not, we can do it in chat, whatever works best.
Thanks so much, Jack, for walking through the activation process. So I know that we're part of the agenda this evening, and there's other presenters and other information. So I am going to enter my email address into the chat. And so that way, if you have any questions about how to use Admit, activating your account, please email me, and Jack and I will respond, and we will we'll follow up to make sure that you have all the information you need for Admit. And then once you create your account, you can chat with us every step of the way. For example, if you want to have later in the year about financial rewards and how we can help you appeal for additional scholarships and grants, send us a chat. We'll share the template letter with you. We'll look over the template letter, and we'll be there to help with the process. There's a great question that came in. What if you earned a scholarship that is only for 1 year? How would that impact the calculations? So right now, the scholarship would be spread out. So what I would say you can do is divide it by 4, right? And then so if it's like a $10,000 scholarship, just enter 2,500. If you're only going to get it, well, if the scholarship is only for 1 year, so that would be my recommendation to how to enter that into Admit.
Yeah, in other words, like the scholarship amount in the profile is a one-time amount. So, like Seth said, if you only know, 1 year's worth, but you're going to get it for all 4 years, you want to multiply by 4. But yeah, that scholarship amount in the profile is a one-time thing, but the ones from the university are each year.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And as we shared, or as Seth shared rather, during, anytime you're using Admit, you can click on that picture of Sabrina in the bottom right corner, and it will open a chat session with a member of our team. So if you can't think of any questions now or don't have any quite yet, you're more than welcome to ask them then later on.
Yeah, Seth and Jack, are you guys able to hang out while we have the other 2 presenters go? Because I wanted to show my account and show the tools I've been using, and maybe you guys have some insight as to how to use them better or.
Sure, yeah.
We actually, we have another presentation with a school that's coming up here in about 15 minutes. But we do have another, 5 or 10 minutes that we could stay on, or we could always reconnect and schedule another time to come back.
So why don't we do this? Why don't I just kind of quickly show my screen?
Okay,
and I'll kind of.
I appreciate it.
Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Looks good.
So this is my daughter's screen. So guys, most of you guys know Gabriella. She went to college this coming year, and so I got the chance to play with Admit to find out what the schools look like and what the return on investment is going to look like. And so one of the things that I noticed after I did the profile for her, that I found out that where is it? Typically you're going to find that at the school she went to, that her first year earnings is going to be a little bit more than it would be at a different school that's similar, right? So I didn't know that at the time, but this was a good tool to help me find that out. And also there's like this little quadrant box down here at the bottom that tells you how it got to the financial grade piece, meaning, so was this a more affordable school, or, what's the earnings going to look like? And so by changing the school and or changing the major in a specific school, you can find out if you're getting a better return. That might also help kids make a better decision if they're not sure about a major, that, that if money is one of the factors coming out of college, things like that. So can you guys maybe just talk a little bit more about some of the tools here in the last part of the profile?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the tools that we have, I get asked, all the time by friends and neighbors, what should I do? How do I make a decision? And one of the tools within, or one of the depictions or graph within this section will actually show you your total debt across your college career. So total loan amount, if you just scroll down a little bit, up there it is, just up a little bit, up just a tad, there it is. So it'll show you your total loans over 4 years compared to your first year earnings for the major that you want. You always never want your loan amount to be higher than your first year earnings. So that's a really good way for you to think about if a college is a good financial fit. It's kind of a rule of thumb. You never want to have more in loans over your college career versus your estimated first year earnings. And that's one way to kind of think about the process.
Yep. And I sat and played with this for a little while because I know what I'm paying now, and I was trying to see how accurate their software was before I presented it to you guys to even see if we wanted to use it. And it got within $2,000 of what it's actually going to cost with the school and the major that Gabrielle is doing. So the tool is actually pretty good. It gets you real close. Jack, you were right. If it's a single scholarship, the best way to do it is to divide it by 4. And that way you kind of get, it's not exactly right, but it makes it closer. So if you guys have some kind of $1,000 scholarship, just divide it over, put 250, right? And you'll get to something that's close. So it's got a lot of tools. It's got a lot of information. You guys could spend literally days and days and days running around in there looking at stuff. But start with the senior year stuff. Start with your college list. Start with putting in the information about what you think your scores are, what your GPA is, and then you guys can talk to me if you're not sure about how to use it properly. Any last questions for the nice gentleman from Edmit before they go?
Awesome.
All right.
Thank you very much, everyone. Best of luck with the process. Again, I know it's pretty stressful, but seems like you got a great team helping you out. So you got this. You're almost through it.
All right. Thanks, guys. We'll talk to you soon.
All the best. Thanks so much.
All right. So we're going to move into the next presentation, and that is going to be, and I'm just going to present my screen for a second so that we can get his contact information up there. It's going to be Mr. Terrell Tolbert, and he's with Warner University. And I'm going to stop presenting my screen now and let him take over. So Terrell, if you want to just go ahead and take the reins.
Yep. Everybody can hear me okay? I just want to make sure it's all working. Good. Okay.
I can hear you, but I do not see the screen yet.
Okay. Yeah, I'm still trying to work this a little bit.
So if you roll your mouse down towards the bottom of the screen, a little window should pop up, and then over to the right, it'll say present now.
Yeah, bottom right.
Okay, I see it.
There you go. And you're up.
All righty, awesome. All right, so I'm just going to talk to you guys a little bit about Warner. Yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So who is Warner? So Warner was founded in 1968. We have approximately 1,200 students. It's about 600 on campus, 600 online. It's about an even split. We are regionally accredited. And about 90% of our students are from Florida. That other 10%, I'd say accounts for maybe about 2% commuters and another 8% of international students. We do have a large international student basis on campus, which is really awesome. Okay, this is our mission statement. Warner University is committed to guiding individuals toward Christ-like character and intellectual maturity while equipping them to serve. So being, a Christ-centered community, every student has to earn spiritual formation credits. So every student has to earn 21 a semester, right? And the main way to get these are from chapel, which for us is every Tuesday and Thursday from 9:30 to 10:30. We do have about 60 to 70 other opportunities outside of chapel for students to earn these. They could be Bible studies. They could be maybe studies in your hall. They could be off-campus events, outreach within the community. First Baptist Church that's right in downtown Lake Wales, they do a college night. So you basically go out, it's free food, they feed you, which is always nice. And then, you go through service, have worship, and then that's it for the night. So there's definitely plenty of opportunities to get those spiritual growth credits. Going into outreach and ministry, one thing that Warner does every year, May 1st in the spring, is what we call Warner Cares Day. All practices, classes, workouts, they're all canceled. We'll meet at the Little League baseball field in downtown Lake Wales and just split up and go serve the community. You could be reading the kids in the elementary school. You could be painting tarmac at the small airport that we have. You could be help building a house. You could be cleaning the garage. You could be helping with the Lake Wales Care Center, which is the main community server over here in Lake Wales. There's a plethora of different things. Going into FCA, we do encourage all of our athletes to participate in FCA, Fellowship of Christian Athletes. It's kind of similar to the college night that I talked about. They give you food, they feed you. You do have a worship and service, and they'll divvy up responsibilities as far as other events that they have on campus. Alrighty, academics. So we have over 30 majors and minors at Warner. The following being our top 4. It's business, education, exercise science, and agricultural studies. The ones that are right under that, are criminal justice and biology. Most people go in it for pre-med. So our classes are taught strictly by professors. You're not going to see any teacher's aide or anything. They're always going to be taught by your professors, and they're going to be taught from a Christian worldview, right? And how the professor chooses to handle that is up to them, whether that's praying before and after class, relating a topic back to scripture, having a conversation on the topic. It really just depends on them. Our average class size is about 17. Of course, your gen eds are going to be a little bit more, and your major classes are going to be a little smaller, but that's about our average. This is really nice because it allows our professors to have open office hours. So when you get into a class, right, you get your syllabus, they're going to put their open office hours on there, and that's a time where you can go in, talk, ask questions, have lunch. It really just depends on, how comfortable you are with going into the professor's office. If you can't go during that time because of practices, games, so-and-so, we do have a secretary in the faculty offices where you can schedule times to meet, and of course you can email your professor as well. Our academic skill center, which is probably, I'm a recent graduate of Warner. I graduated this past spring. The academic skill center helped me out a lot. I was an exercise science major, so chemistry, biology, biochem, A&P, all those classes were difficult to say the least. So this is the Academic Skills Center. It's peer tutoring. So you can go in, a student that has gotten at least an A- in a class can tutor in that specific subject, and you can get help, see the student's notes. A lot of times you'll also get to hear a little bit more about the professor, what tests look like, and things of that nature. Alrighty, so we do brag on our education department a little bit. Our education department has a 100% pass rate on the professional education exam. We're ranked #1 for private colleges and universities in Florida, and we're one of the 4 schools with a 100% pass rate. The other ones being USF, South Florida, and Florida Gulf Coast. Alrighty, athletics. So Warner University is an athlete-dominant school. We're about 65% athletics, these being all the teams we have on campus: soccer, tennis, volleyball, beach volleyball, basketball, baseball, softball, football, track and field, cross country, cheer, clay target team, and recently added just this year is girls flag football. We are a part of the NAIA in the Sun Conference. We're also in the NCCAA, it's a National Christian Division, and our mascot are the Royals. It's the lion, if you can't see it. Alrighty, student life. So this is a basic list of some of the things that we do either annually or every semester at Warner. Laser tag, movie nights, paint wars is probably my favorite thing that we did as a student. We would go in a field that's in front of our softball field, set up 4 corners in the big field and have dry paint, wet paint, water guns, water balloons, all of that stuff. and it would be a 2-hour free-for-all. It's absolutely awesome. I loved it. Hopefully you will. Going forward, we went to Major League Baseball games, NHL, NBA, NFL games. And then you can do all this other stuff as well. Clay shooting, bass fishing, ranch rodeo, beach trips, and all that stuff. We're in the country. We are a little bit country. That's just it. It is what it is. Alrighty. So housing, right? So every student is required to live on campus or at home. To live at home, you have to be within 50 miles of the university. All dorms have a private or semi-private bathroom. It's not a big hall bathroom or anything like that. Wi-Fi is throughout the whole campus, and laundry is free. There are 4 to 5 laundry units in each dorm. All students must have a meal plan. So say you get a 14 meal plan. So that's 14 meal swipes a week. You can use that in the cafeteria, which is a buffet style, open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Or you can use it in our coffee shop or our Starbucks. So you can use one swipe to get a specialty drink, which is like a macchiato or frappuccino, all that fun stuff. Or you could use it to get a meal in the union. So we have wraps, sandwiches, pizza, all that good stuff. So you can either, if you don't like what's in the cafeteria, you can go to the union and vice versa. All students can have a car on campus. It doesn't matter if you're a freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. It just has to be registered with the security department, and you don't have to pay for it either. And then, of course, we're an alcohol, drug, and tobacco-free campus. Alrighty, how to apply. So, of course, you're going to apply at warner.edu. You're going to submit your high school transcripts. We do not require you to have test scores, but if you can submit them, we do ask you to, just because it could give you a better chance of getting a higher academic scholarship. All right, so these are our requirements. These mostly reflect with the NAIA requirements to participate in sports. So a high school GPA of 2.25 or higher, a class rank in the top 50% of your graduating class, an ACT composite of 18, or an SAT math and reading of 940. So with NAIA, they have not released anything on what next year will look like as far as the requirements go with COVID and everything. But regularly, you have to get 2 out of the 3, right? Okay, so tuition and fees. Get the money from, exactly, yes. So to tuition, this is for the whole year. Tuition is about $23,500. You got the fees can range, but altogether they're about $1,000. Room and board, $4,000, each, and then totaling in $33,780. So going over, this is a sample award letter for students, right? So I kind of mentioned this a little bit early, but every student coming into Warner either gets an academic scholarship or gets a athletic scholarship. I saw just someone put in there. Yep, exactly. So this student, with their test scores and everything, got an academic award of $10,000. By completing their FAFSA and everything, they got the full Pell, which is $6,000. This next thing, the state ease grant. So this is a grant that the government, Florida government, automatically gives you for being a Florida resident and attending a private university in the state of Florida. So that's automatic money. And this student decided to take out $5,500 in loans. So their total award was about $24,000, and total out of pocket was about $9,000. I know, speaking from my personal experience in this, I never paid more than $4,000 out of pocket. I played football here at Warner, and I was also active on campus, but you do have the chance to get more money. Looking down at the bottom of the screen, you do have some other grants. So I mentioned the Pell and Ease. You do have the FSAG and the SEOG. So if you once you get accepted, our financial aid department will send you an award letter, and they will let you know if you qualify for those other grants. And then you do have your direct loan, Parent Plus loan, and work study. We do offer work study. We do have a huge number of jobs on campus, so there's always opportunities for that. And how we split that up, you can do in 25% increments. So you could have 25% go to your personal bank account, and the other 75% go towards your student account. It just depends on how you want to do that. And then, of course, you have your private scholarships, Bright Futures, Florida Prepaid, all of that stuff. We do take all of that. Okay, so we use kind of like a sliding scale for the scholarships. So the academic award of 10,000 is about I think at the lowest is a 3.2. I don't have my matrix right in front of me right now, but it's about a 3.2. We're actually looking to increase these scholarships so that students with, higher GPAs, get rewarded, for their hard work equivalently, right? And then, so the highest academic award possible right now, until we are able to, kind of adjust our scholarships, is 13,000. Of course, with athletics, it's a little different because that's based upon, the coach and what they offer and things of that nature. One more thing I do want to talk about. That is about it for my presentation. But one more thing I do want to talk about is Royal Cup. It's something that we have coming up. So that is from January 29th to 30th. This is an academic competition. So to qualify, you have to have one of the following, right? A 3.5 GPA, a 23 ACT, an 1130 SAT, and be in the top 15% of your class, right? So once you qualify, if you qualify with that, you have to apply and get accepted into Warner, and you're going to send in a resume and 2 recommendation letters. When you get here on the 29th and 30th, there'll be a dinner. You'll go in. You're going to get an interview from faculty and staff. And then going in, you're also going to do a 500 or plus, however you decide, essay prompt, and that would be given to you the weekend of. So winners of the World Cup, the awards. Let's talk about that, right? So every student that gets into Royal Cup, just for participating, automatically gets a $13,000 scholarship per year, right? So that's $13,000 per year for 4 years. The top 10 students will get a $15,000 scholarship per year, and then the winner will receive a full tuition waiver. So I did want to let you guys know about that opportunity, and I can definitely put in the chat box a link to a page that has more information, common questions, and the link to submit all of your information as well.
Yeah, that would be great. I believe Ms. Bonikowski emailed out to our students that are in the top 15% this week already, but that's good to have it there as well. And so could I just have you just repeat what you said there? So just for competing, they get the $13,000?
Yes, sir. Just for competing, they get the $13,000.
And then if you're in the top 10, then you get $15,000.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yep. Yes, for 4 years. Yep. Any questions?
If you guys have any questions, you can go ahead and open your mics because there's only about half the people in the chat. So if you guys want to ask a question, now's your time. You got to take full advantage of Okay.
All righty.
Is that the end, Terrell?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So thank you, Warner. Thank you, Terrell. Appreciate your time. And I'm going to just present my screen really quickly just for 1 second. And so we also have Mr. David Fritas, I hope I'm saying that right, from Johnson & Wales tonight. And he's going to tell you about what they have to offer. We do have several seniors in our culinary academy here at Inlet Grove. And I know you guys have multiple campuses, so if you want to go ahead, and I will stop presenting and you can begin. And then after his presentation, guys, Ms. Bonikowski and myself, we can stay and answer some more questions. We could talk more about Admit. We could talk more about Warner, whatever you guys would like to do. So I will let Mr. David take over.
First of all, I want to thank Mr. McDermott. I hope we're all still awake here. I know it's kind of a little late here, but I'll give you a brief overview. And what we do well as a university, we do really well on what we have. But at the end of the day, it's about what your goals are. And I've been in higher ed for 25 years. Whatever your goals are, whatever college you're looking at, certainly I'll give you an overview of what we do. And maybe it's an approach that you might feel might be right for you as a student, or you for your child as a parent. I'm going to share my screen real quick here, and I'll try to be brief, but answer any questions. I like to be informal. If you have anything that you'd like to ask, I know these things tend to be a little bit kind of cut and dry, so I always welcome any interaction. Okay, so let's see. Can I get my PowerPoint going, huh?
So you're definitely presenting. I see your screen. So.
And do you see my PowerPoint?
Not yet, but I definitely see your screen.
Okay. Maybe it's a lag. Oh, so you see my screen.
Yeah, so just click the tab that your PowerPoint's in.
My PowerPoint is in.
Is it open? Do you see it?
I do.
Okay.
Maybe I should stop sharing and make sure I select the PowerPoint. Maybe you're on a desktop or something.
Yes, stop it again and then restart it. Sometimes you have to do that.
My apologies, guys. All right, so I stopped sharing. Go back to it. I will present again. And I have a choice of a window or your entire screen.
And just do entire screen.
Entire screen. And then do you share?
Yeah, so down at the bottom towards the right, it says present now. So if
I thought I did that already.
It didn't start yet. Give it another try. So when you roll down to the bottom, there's like a little window that pops up. And over to the right side of that.
Sorry, guys.
All right.
Best laid plans, had it all ready. All right, so I'm present now. That's where the pop-up comes up for your entire screen. Selecting entire screen.
And then there's one more button you got to hit after you hit entire screen, I think. It says finish or select or something.
Well, the pop-up button has a grayed out, share, and a cancel. Or maybe I'll just have to, okay, let me click that again. That's what I did last time. All right, let's see what comes up. If not, we'll have to.
It looks like it's starting to work.
Okay.
So now that I see your screen, so now open your PowerPoint.
Got it.
There it is.
Just needed a little bit of patience, I guess, right? All right, we'll start from the beginning here. Johnson & Wales University. We are over 100 years old. We have a tradition coming out of the New England area. Our campus is a main campus where we were founded in 1914, and Providence is about an hour from Boston. So I'm not sure if you guys have ever been up to New England, but that's where our regional accreditation comes from. certainly you want to compare colleges. A best fit college should do all the things that you really want out of a college to get that best value and spend 4 years of your life as a student and be able to shine as a senior. And sometimes that can be challenging. So I'm going to go over some real quick stats here, and I'm going to switch over because that is pretty small. And I'm going to blow up this slide to make it a little bit more readable. Can everybody see that? Is there a lag, Mr. McDermott?
No, I can see it.
You can see it, perfect. Okay, so first of all, our campus has, our university has 2 campuses. The one in Providence, again, founded in 1914, and then we have a modern campus in Charlotte, right downtown. Actually, the city of Charlotte had a site in mind right across the street from the Bank of World Headquarters of Bank of America, and they chose JWU. So we're pretty proud of that. We built that campus from scratch up there. Our majors range, there's 80 different programs from different colleges. You had mentioned culinary. We're a premier culinary college, globally recognized for all our programs, but we really have some great reputation out there with culinary, hospitality in particular, and our College of Culinary Arts, as it is, has changed the name to College of Food and Innovation Technology to better reflect the advances in the curriculum. Sciences, you can be a chef, but there are so many different types of career paths related to that passion for food, whether it's in culinary nutrition, maybe leveraging off our health and wellness college, health sciences, and getting involved with more of the dietitians type of thing, or getting in the wine industry, food marketing, you name it. So there's a lot of different areas, and of course there's a whole hospitality side of things. So lots of great things happening in that college. But we have a tremendous College of Engineering and Design, really state-of-the-art facilities. Again, multi-million-dollar new facilities for Health and Wellness College, biology, health sciences, public health programs. So we even have a biomedical engineering program up there. It's awesome. So if you're looking at being as a pre-med or veterinarian, physical therapy, occupational therapy, a lot of different options there. College of Business is what we're founded on, so anything to do with College of Business. We have an arts and science college, psychology, criminal justice, sociology. So again, we run the gamut there. We have graduate and doctorate programs, and we have ways of really working through undergraduate and graduate programs in an accelerated way as well. So, and that can save you money if a student is looking at kind of long term. We have an early action deadline coming right up November 1st. Our rolling admissions then kicks in with a deadline of March 1st. We are honors college. We have, we're not a huge college, right? Between Providence having a majority of those students, but I would say Charlotte has about 2,200 of those students as a regional campus. But as you notice that we attract students from all over the world, 78 different countries. So we have a rather large international student population, which is always a good sign when a college attracts a lot of international students because they have a global brand awareness, right? And those kids usually don't get the kind of scholarships you guys can get. They pay full tuition. So they really are pragmatic about choosing the right college. Small classroom sizes is essential. The type of education we provide really requires that dynamic with the professor who's got to be an expert in their field, often still connected to what they do. And teaching is their priority. Not research, not publishing, it's teaching. And they bring that dynamic, and they're going to be a mentor for our students in the classroom. We are a test optional university. I can remember years ago traveling around. I was a national director of recruitment, and I had a chance to travel around different parts of the country, even internationally. And I just remember how a lot more colleges, even the Ivy League schools, are really looking at the model of being test optional, because the emphasis can be a little bit harsh and looking at just that SATs as almost exclusionary for acceptance. We're really going to put an emphasis on academics and what you put on the application for activities and the things that well-roundedness of a student. day in, day out, 3 to 4 years, what you do in school, I think is a better indicator of success. But we do encourage you to take the SATs, ACTs, and submit them. And what we do is we look at that. And if you do really above average and do really well with that test scores, we use it to elevate the academic scholarship, the merit scholarship. But again, very generous scholarships without it if a student does not decide to take the test. But we do put it aside, and for as far as a decision, it's strictly based on high school transcripts in the application and anything that you might present, letters, recommendations, etc. There's our code for the FAFSA. I would say that we don't have a fee for our application, and we do common app. You can go online, and of course we do have paper apps, but obviously online is the way to go these days, right? We're really big on academies. You can compete at the national, at a college level, nationally and regionally. And what we do is just give professional opportunities for our students to build almost like a portfolio to go along with their academics, right? And part of our DNA is really internships. I want to talk about that in a second. Over 150 clubs and activities, whether, again, it's professional types of academies that students can join, or fun sports, Division III sports, NCAA up in Providence, USACC, I believe, in Charlotte. And by the way, I mentioned those national student organizations, those academies. We provide additional scholarships if your student or you as a student are involved with, there's a lot of different academies that are prevalent in the high schools, like Junior Achievement, DECA, BPA, Skills USA, HOSA, AOHT, and the list goes on. So again, we want to reward those kinds of students in addition to the merit scholarship, because we know those are the kind of students that'll flourish at JWU. It's a kind of experiential education. The balancing act between that and the academics is what are the type of student that we attract. Virtual ability to see our campuses. We have Wildcat on-campus visits, weekends, Wildcat weekends that you can check out our campuses, and Wildcat Willie's our mascot. We have our financial aid is one of our highest mission statements. Every year, it's going to be on the top of our list is what ways that we can try to make university or college affordable, because that is really the biggest challenge going to a private university. But I will say, for instance, down here in South Florida, University of Miami, big private university, is kind of like dominant down here, but it's about twice the cost of JWU. We're looking at about $34,000 for tuition. And then we got those merit scholarships, we have the activity-based scholarships, and we even have financial aid-based grants, right, based off that FAFSA. We're going to assign a financial aid planner for all families, and we do a competitive awarding process. So if someone really wants to be, a student's really interested in being a Wildcat, we're really going to do our best to do a competitive award process. And if you happen to have a scholarship or financial aid package that's more than what Johnson & Wales has to offer, we're going to do our best to match it or do better, okay? Small classroom sizes, as I mentioned, and internships. We've got internships all over the world. Internships is a common phrase for colleges these days, but we've been doing it for over 100 years. And what we do between our non-traditional approach, or traditional in many ways, but our non-traditional approach is make sure our students are immersed in their major all 4 years. And we take those gen ed curriculum courses and bring them along the way. But every year, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, a student will grow with their major rather than cramming everything in those last 2 years. And there's a couple of benefits to that. First of all, students do better when they're connected to why they're going to college in the first place. And then second of all, if by chance a student changes their mind, and it could happen, you'd rather have that process happen in your first year or two and then be able to seamlessly transition into what major they're really happy about, have those credits come on board, graduate on time, as opposed to having that whole process happen in that junior, senior year, God forbid, right? And that can be a scary thing. All right, so I'm going to finish off our this presentation, because I know I only have a little bit of time here, with just some pictures of our campuses, I thought. Would that be okay, Scott?
Yes, of course. Floor is
Okay.
yours.
Thank you. Providence, Rhode Island, where I grew up, somewhat partial to New England. If any of you guys have ever traveled up there, it's definitely a different vibe. A lot of colleges up there in New England, very historic feeling. In fact, the city of Providence, about an hour from Boston, 2.5 hours from New York. A lot of little states that you can travel through up in there in New England. Great public transportation, train and bus. You can get around up there and just experience anywhere from whale watching in Cape Cod to the Narragansett Bay in Rhode Island to hiking in Vermont, whitewater rafting up in Maine. You can be up in the border of Canada and go into a different country by the time you, almost roughly in the distance that it would be come from us to get out to Georgia, right? So you can experience a lot of different things if you're open to going to an out-of-state college like JWU. No out-of-state fees, by the way, so we don't charge an out-of-state fee. A lot of travel tourism up there in Providence. It's a cool little city, walkable. In fact, there are more college kids per capita in Providence than any city in the country. We're right in the middle of downtown with with these water fire festivals that go on. Really cool art, entertainment, music, restaurants, coffee shops, and those gondolas are imported from Venice, Italy, by the way. And this is a gateway to our campus. Again, you're going to have some older architecture here. One of our oldest buildings here used to be a part of the diocese and the Catholic Church, and they had nuns living in there, and now it's one of our dorms. You can see the changing colors of the leaves. We do have 4 seasons up in New England, so I have a couple of slides to drive that point in a second here. But here's our main campus, our main footprint. Students really use that property and gather around and do all sorts of fun things on campus. And you can see the kind of that New England feel for a campus. Excellent dining, obviously, with a premier College of Food and Innovation Technology. We're going to make sure our students eat well, but it's even if you're not into culinary as a career, it's always nice to have friends that can bring in nice food and be part of the hospitality tradition that we do up there. Among all those classic buildings, we also have state-of-the-art, multi-million-dollar new facilities and buildings for all our different colleges, again, from engineering to health and wellness college to business to culinary. There's our Division III athletic center. You see that Wildcat, the big statue right in front there. There's in front of the athletic center. And again, 4 seasons. So we got winter up there, right? It is New England. So that's kind of part of the picture if you're going to look at us. But I happen to think it's nice part of you can always live in Florida the rest of your life, but only one time to do college, do it right, maybe experience some new things. Charlotte, real quick, 3rd fastest growing city in the country. A lot of major corporations headquartered up there and banks. And as I mentioned, we're right across the street from the world headquarters of Bank of America, not too far from the football stadium for the North Carolina Panthers. NASCAR, they have all the major sports up there, but NASCAR is an additional one. They're crazy about NASCAR. I don't know much about racing, but I know they do a lot of tailgating parties and events, and they're crazy about it. It's just as big as football up there. So that's kind of fun to experience. Our campus there has got a different feel. And again, being new, we built it from scratch. Really beautiful. Got a modern feel for it. I mentioned we have small classroom sizes. We do have auditoriums, but not for academics, for special events, activities, speakers. In this case, the filming for the Food Network. And you can imagine we have a lot of different things going on with that food channel. This dorm in particular for Charlotte, both campuses have all different types of dorms and different arrangements from singles to doubles, quads. This dorm happens to have the distinction that supposedly you can see the North Carolina Panthers practicing their plays for the upcoming Sunday for our football athletes or fans. Just a couple of slides I threw in here, getting a flavor from Charlotte campus downtown. Pretty cool city. And if you've been up to North Carolina, lakes, forests, beaches on one end, mountains on the other. They also have 4 seasons, but not quite as extreme as New England, right? So they're going to be a little bit more mild. And there they are celebrating our 100-year anniversary back in 2014. That's our Wildcat statue. I'm just going to finish with a few more slides here. Study abroad programs, 6 different continents, internships. Again, important if you're going to stand out as a senior because everybody's graduating the same time as you are. And those internships really help you connect, even as freshmen, all the way through college. You're connecting our students with these some of these largest career fairs for a college of our size. Connecting with those people from the and whether or not you're building toward getting an internship with them or a project or just knowing what skill sets they're looking for. It's just the way the real world works. Is just relationships, right? So that's about it. You know, traditional in the sense of fun sports, Division III sports, clubs, activities, but we're going to be more goal focused, and the kind of kid that comes to us usually knows what they want to do. We don't get a lot of kids that are undeclared track, although we do have that Wildcat Willie here. But they want an immersion in their major, and they want to start and really start doing some great things with it. I'm going to end off here with our, let me get to this financial aid real quick. 93% of our kids, actually the right number right now is 94%, of our students have some type of Johnson & Wales financial aid. The national average for college is only 67%. So we're well above national average in funding our students and helping out with affordability. I gave you the FAFSA code, and obviously there's a great way to check us out. Do your due diligence, compare, and see, you know, what kind of financial aid packaging and what kind of approach you really you think you'd be comfortable with for college. And once again, there's my contact information. How's that, Scott? Did I do okay?
I think that was amazing. A couple points of interest are seasons are things that happen outside of Florida. Our students probably don't know what those are. And also, they may not know what a forest is. A forest is a clump of trees that don't have coconuts on them.
Exactly. I find with the Four Seasons though, growing up there, and I don't know where you're from, but
here.
You're from here. Okay, there you go. I moved down here thinking I want to be at the beach all the time, and it just doesn't happen. I can't remember the last time I've been to the beach. You know, hitting that sand at 100-degree weather, right?
Yes.
And you're burning your feet. But up there, every season had its activities. People tend to do stuff because seasons change. You know, when it's the summer, everybody's hitting the beach because they know it's not going to last forever. And then you got the skiing, ice skating right by the campus. They got a rink right there downtown. It's really cool. But and then fall and spring, ideal. You name it. Apple picking. We got a row team crew. We go on the water and check out what's going on. Lighthouses, clam bakes, you know, all sorts of stuff. Again, just a different perspective if someone's open to that kind of thing. You know?
Yeah. And for those of you guys that have never left Florida, the northeast part of the country is a really, really great wealth of different foods and different cultures with museums and things like that. And like David was saying, just getting out into the country, doing apple picking and corn mazes. You have no idea what these things are, but they exist.
Right.
And so you have, like, to David's point, you know, we live where people, you know, vacation, but to get away and spend 4 years somewhere else and be able to see the leaves change and play in the snow and stuff like that, it's part of the college experience. So very, very good information from you guys as well.
Thank you. I'll happy to take any questions if there are any. And of course, you got my cell phone. I just helped out just the other day, a student looking for music production, which we don't have at JWU. But I'm happy to help. And, you know, again, it's what your goals are as a priority. Private scholarships is probably almost $3 billion that goes unclaimed every year. Yes, Linda.
Mr. Freitas, if a student has earned their ServSafe certification, are they able to skip any classes and earn credit through the certification?
I think that's a 1 credit. ServSafe gives a 1 credit deal. So I'm not sure about skipping classes, but it does give them some. And, you know, it gives a foundation. The more foundation a student has, and by the way, I don't know how old your child might be, but we have some great culinary camps in the summer, you know, with the chef instructors. We have some master's chef instructors too, by the way, state-of-the-art labs, but they're really going to, you know, have some fun with the kids in the classroom to really make sure it's the right fit for them. And I think that's what we do really well. Again, I would say another great college for culinary is CIA, right? But they tend to be a little bit more, they don't have quite as many options as we do. We have more of a college environment. We're really oriented to kids coming out of high school to really grow them into their career, as opposed to coming out of industry, which we do get a number of that as well. But I think we're a great college choice for kids coming out of college, for especially in that program.
Okay. Did you give us an idea what the scholarships, what the amount of tuition costs per year?
Yeah, I mentioned it's about 34,000. You're looking at probably another 12,000 for room and board. But we really got some generous scholarships. I don't want to say that amounts that, because you end up thinking that you're going to get the amount. It all depends on what your transcripts are in academics, right?
Mhm.
And but they can range. I mean, I've seen kids get over $20,000 in scholarship money. And then next thing you know, that's the merit. And then you got your athletics. We're Division III, so we don't give a lot of athletic scholarship money, to be honest with you. But academies, if they're part of DECA, Skills USA. Now, again, I say 20,000. It might come out to 9, or it might come. Maybe somebody doesn't come out with a scholarship, depending on what. Usually, everybody comes with some kind of scholarship, but there are, there's. Yeah, it depends just what you've done at high school level, and then if you do throw in those SATs or ACTs, you go right up to full tuition. There is a possibility there.
Gotcha. And so, for the students that are still on the call, so Johnson and Wales is one of the schools you can put into the admit profile, as well as Palm Beach Atlantic from last week, Palm Beach, Florida Atlantic from last week, St. Leo from last week, Barry University from last week, Warner from this week, and Nova from last week. So all of the schools that we've kind of been presented to are all part of the admit profile, and you can get a good idea of what it's going to look like as far as cost goes. The last thing I was going to ask you, David, was it left my mind.
I do have a question for you, though.
Sure.
You put up Nova as an example, and I was under the impression Nova was more of a tuition of close to ours, around that 32, 34,000, if not more.
It's more than that, yeah.
Yeah, it's more than okay. All right, I thought I saw 24,000 in what you put in your.
So 24,000 was what my particular scenario, what I put in, was going to be end up having to come out of pocket.
Oh, okay.
But it didn't account for athletic scholarships and things like that. It's one of the things their program can't account for. But it came in within $2,000 or $3,000 of the actual just merit, let's call it, scholarship, and what was left over. So the profile actually worked pretty good.
I'd like to check that out. Is there a way? Is there a way that I can get the program, or how's that work?
I can give you Seth's information. I can email it to you, and then you can talk to him about it. And also, I'm going to put you in contact with Chef Hall. I didn't do it yet, but I will. And you can maybe set up something where you can talk to some of his younger kids and stuff like that. I just remember what it was. So a lot of the schools and Terrell, you can answer this question too, are saying that there's, you don't need test scores, but without the test scores, you really can't get the award monies. But if you don't have test scores, is there some kind of placement test you have to take once you come in? And I guess, David, I'll let you answer first.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, we do have placement testing for English and math.
Okay. So if they have no SAT or ACT scores, there is a placement test, but probably they should take the ACT or SAT because that's how they get the cash.
Yeah, we always encourage you to take it. And again, not to say that they can't do well with scholarships, but if you're, if you do average, it might not have a big impact, right? That's a definition of average, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you do above average and do really well with that test scores, it could have an impact where it can increase that merit scholarship.
Okay. Terrell, I assume yours is the same thing. If there's no scores, there's some kind of placement?
Yeah, so that's kind of in the works now as far as what that's going to look like. But yes, and then if they don't have the test scores, we can also use their class rank as well. That's in our matrix as well. So if they don't have the test scores, like you said, it doesn't mean that they're not going to be able to get the full, the full extent, but it does help.
Okay. All right. Very good. Students, we have any questions for these gentlemen? Regina, do you have a question?
I'm just coming in.
All right. While she's thinking, does anybody else have any other questions? She does not. Okay.
Don't be shy, guys.
Oh,
Looks like you got a good turnout here, though, huh?
Definitely.
Yeah, it was pretty good. We had about 100 last week for
Okay.
that was kind of the first part of this, and then we added a second section. Regina, can you mute your mic, please? All right. If there are no questions for these guys, I will let them leave if they have other commitments to go to. We are recording this, and their contact information was recorded. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to email them. I'm sure they wouldn't have. I know everybody always comes up with something the minute somebody leaves. So I'm sure these guys would be more than happy to take your emails and discuss whatever questions you have. Right, guys?
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Yep.
All right. So thank you guys. If you want to hang around, feel free to. There are some questions that people have for Ms. Bonikowski, so I'm just gonna let them go ahead with that. So it looks like Cramioli, do you have a question?
Yes, I do. For Ms. Bonikowski, I know you said that you were going to send me the application for the Key Club, but whenever you get the chance, can you tell me like what GPA you need for NHS? And then whenever you find the list of the other clubs that are open, I'd like that, please. Thank you.
So NHS is 3.5,
Okay.
3.5 or above, rather.
Okay. And then from you, Mr. McDermott, I had emailed you about Barry, and you never got back to me because I know you're a busy man. But I was just wondering, even though they don't require a letter of recommendation, I want that application to look perfect. So do you think I should send one in? And the
Yes,
one you had sent
100%.
me looked nice. I'm sure you still have that format. So if you could just send me one for Barry too, that'd be great.
Yes. So those of you guys that have asked me for letters of recommendation, I'm usually sending you something back that shows you what I would like to write. I personally have no problem personalizing every one of them for you guys. So if you want one, I want to send it just to Barry, or I want to send it just to Nova, or I want to send it just to Warner, or just to Johnson and Wales. I think it looks a little more personal, looks a little more professional, rather than just to whom it may concern. So absolutely, just send me the name of the school, and I'll be more than happy to send it to you.
Okay, thank you.
And I know a couple of you guys I noticed in the chat have sent me notifications for the Common App and stuff like that. So just so you guys know, the Common App is a little more complex than just, yes, she's a great kid. There's a lot of stuff you have to enter for the Common App, which I don't have any problem doing, but it does take me some time, but I will meet the deadlines. So just, there's a couple more I have to finish by tomorrow. So I will do. Kelsey, I saw was on the call, and I think Marluce was on the call as well. So I got to finish theirs up by tomorrow. So not to fear, I will get it done. It is on my list.
Mr. McDermott, I have a question.
Yes, is that Malia?
Like for people that don't know how to apply to colleges and that needs help, do ILNEC gives out people to help these people out or something?
Yeah. So, I mean, the application process is usually, the application to a college is usually not that difficult. It's pretty much just go to the school's website, right on that homepage somewhere. It probably says something like apply, or it might say undergraduate, or it might say, undergraduate as a or something like that. And it's just a form. You put the form in, some transcript. Sometimes it might ask you to upload letters of recommendation, but it's usually just information about yourself. But if you have any questions specific to an application, feel free to email me or Ms. Bonikowski or even Ms. Kim in the guidance office, and one of us can help you. But
Okay,
the journey to a college application always starts at their website.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I have another question for Ms. Bonikowski. I'm sorry. I need to sign up for my spring classes, but I had to make an appointment with my academic advisor first, but I don't have my academic advisor's name. So whenever I try to make an appointment, it goes to somebody who's not my academic advisor, and they can't access my account because of I'm early admitted, so they can't help me set up my spring classes so I can show Mr. McDermott and finalize it. Ms. Bonikowski, do you know the name of my academic advisor? No. I tried to email them, but they never got back to me. So I don't know what to do about that.
Check the chat, Crammy. I'm putting something in there for you.
All right, Cramioli, I'm getting information that in your Blackboard, it should have your academic advisor's name should be listed in your Blackboard somewhere.
I saw my
And
academic advisor's information, like her email, phone number, and a place to say set up appointment. But the way that the appointment is set up, you have to put their name, and I don't see their name anywhere. Like, I looked. If you could show me where specifically, I'd appreciate that.
Give me 5 minutes. I'm having my assistant look it up right now, and I'll get you the answer in like 5 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Do we have any other questions? And Linda, I have Miss Kim working on it in the background, so she'll probably get the answer before he will. Okay, if you guys came in late to the meeting, make sure you put your name in the chat just so I know who is all here tonight, and maybe we'll start wrapping this up. Go to your Admit accounts, start that profile, start putting those schools in there, put your information in, and let's start to have those conversations about what school might be the right fit for you. If you're a parent, using that budget tool with your child is actually pretty useful. Because you can really start to figure out, where your money goes, right? So using that budget tool is actually a pretty good tool, especially for the parents to use. All right. So David and Terrell, we appreciate you guys spending your time with us tonight. If kids have some questions, they didn't know how to get a hold of you. So we thank you guys for spending the night with us.
Thank you.
Of course. Thank you.
All right.
Did she go supervising?
Hey, Crammy, give me 1 second.
And then it should be right underneath there. It says current advisor.
All right, Cramioli, do you have your Panther web open by any chance?
I'm doing that right now.
Okay, so the first thing you do once you get in your Panther web is go to advising, and then advising information.
And it should be right under there.
Wait, hold on, I'm logging in now.
And it's listed right there. Grammy, can you see the screen?
Can
you see my screen?
Not, I can see it, but it's not really good. Hold on. Let me see if I can pin your screen. It's a little bit blurry. Yeah. I'm on my Panther web right now. I'm going to advising. You said, what do I click?
Can you see my screen? Like if you pin me?
I can see it, but it's a little blurry.
Yeah, but let me show you where it is. So right here in this area right here, it says advisor's name with all their information. And that's under advising advisor.
No, advising information.
I'm sorry, advising information.
Oh, I see it. Thank you so much. Yeah, I see it. Thank you.
You are welcome. All right, guys. Students, if you don't have any more questions, feel free to drop out. And like I said, Ms. Bonikowski, if you want to, we'll just hang out for another minute, see if anybody has any other questions. I'll probably stop recording at this point. The meeting from last week will be online by tomorrow, guys, and this one will be up there as well. So